Just escaped the fire. We're live. Go.
We are live? Are we sure?
I'm
It's
sure.
2022. Welcome to the 22 edition of the Demand Better podcast, our first episode of the year. And for those of you who have been joining us for the first time, welcome. And thank you for spending your time with us. And for you followers, thank you so much for all the support you've given us on this journey. We truly appreciate you. Keep running that music, Bo. Here at Demand Better, we believe that life is better when you're an educated and informed consumer. My name's Corona, and I'm coming to you from the concrete jungle, New York City. And on the other end over there, you coming from Superior, Colorado, Dr. Bo. Between the two of us, we have over 51 years of experience in the health and fitness space, and we wanted to peel away the curtain and give you, the listener, a true behind-the-scenes look at the conversations we are having. Before we chop it up, let's get to the legalese. No person should act or refrain from acting on the basis of content provided in any podcast without first seeking appropriate medical advice and counseling. This is for educational and informational purposes only, not to be used for medical advice. And with that being said, let me please introduce a man who's had a very difficult week, my partner, the great Dr. Bo. Welcome.
Thank you. We already got a Russian spam bot in our YouTube comments, which is always fun. For anyone not following me personally on social media or anything like that, we had to escape the fires. If you saw the Marshall fires out here in Colorado, so we are back in the home. We don't have clean water yet, so we're kind of bouncing around, finding showers and things like that. We got a hotel just to take a clean shower. Should have everything back to normal tomorrow. Again, very grateful that our stuff stayed up and very trying to do what we can to help out. There was over 991 homes lost, I believe. Not a ton of lost lives, which is pretty amazing. But the evacuation was something. So, I don't want to focus too much on that. Bring people down. Again, that was not a great way to end 2021, but we're talking about New Year's resolutions. That was December 29th, I think. Time is a flat circle for me. I don't know how it is for you, but that's where we're at.
Well, listen, man, our prayers are with you and the people of Colorado, first and foremost. But let's start positive for the year. And my positivity point is your New York resolution.
Your New York resolution. It better be New York.
I'm sorry.
It's all pizza and bagel based.
Your New Year's, the question at hand today is, why does your New Year's resolution suck? Let's remember that the big resolution that everybody does every year, Bo, you know which ones they are. We're going to exercise more. And what else are we going to do?
Going to lose some weight. Going to eat better, eat cleaner. We're going to make $1 million.
I'm sure, Bo, you remember that in the beginning of every year in New York City, the gyms get packed. They're not as packed this year.
I don't think that's just New York City, my friend. I know when we're in New York, it feels like New York is the only thing that matters, but I think that's everywhere.
So I'm only going to speak from where I live. But, basically, the gyms get packed for about 6 weeks. I got 3 little stats for y'all to kind of deal with. $34.8 billion is spent on gym memberships. $1.3 billion is wasted on gym memberships. And 80% of the people who do a New Year's resolution and join a gym are no longer existent in the gym by mid-February. Bo, what are your resolutions and what are your thoughts on the topic?
I do not have any resolutions. My resolution only is to get closer to my friends who I care about and people like you, and maybe avoid more fires in the future. No, we're gonna dive into that. So we're starting here with I have my little cheat sheet, starting with generic goals, right? So when people again say I want to lose 10 pounds, because I feel a little overweight. If you're reflecting at a New Year's party, and we wished we had done this live, but unfortunately the fire kind of messed up our timing. So this would have been more relevant leading up to New Year's, but still people are still in this January mode of, hey, it's a new year, new things happening. Can we make changes? This is stuff that we can do all the time, but it is a nice kind of, set point when you have January 1st, new year, you have the old baby, the new baby, all that stuff. So we just wanted to tap into these things and go through some of the concepts. So The generic goals that we're talking about that a lot of people make, they're outcome based, and we're going to come back to that and how that's relevant. But
Wait,
go
wait,
ahead.
wait. Let me stop you for a second. Let me say for just 1 second. And I think we have to have this point out there off of inception. Most people fail at doing a resolution. They say about 80% of the people fail. We're not here to set you up for failure. We're here to set you up with success, which is why Dr. Bo is already starting on the path. So, Dr. Bo, go ahead.
So SMART goals is the next evolution from generic, right? When somebody comes to me and say, I want to lose 10 pounds, I'm going to say, okay, well, the next evolution of that is SMART goal. So that's an acronym for specific, measurable, repeatable, attainable, and time based. So instead of saying, I want to lose 10 pounds, we could say, over what period of time is it realistic? So maybe I want to lose 10 pounds over 10 weeks. That's a realistic goal. But still, the challenge here is, and if anyone's seen that recent Will Smith, whatever docu-series on Apple TV, he wanted to lose 20 pounds in 20 weeks. There's a lot wrong with the way they went about it. We are here to ask them to demand better from themselves. Again, considering Will Smith is one of the highest paid actors in the world, one of the richest men probably in the world, and not to call out his trainer, but that's where someone should step in and say, hey, the weight on the scale is not the only thing. His bigger thing was he wants to look, feel, and perform better, right? He felt like he was in the worst shape of his life. The number on the scale should not be the thing that correlates to looking, feeling, and performing better. So at the end of the day, without going too far down that tangent, SMART goals will help us move in a better direction. There's SMARTer goals, and that's a book I came across that was called Best Year of Your Life, basically, and they were talking about this concept of resolutions. We're not going to dive into that acronym and how they evolved that, but there are evolutions of this, and we're going to dive into where we're going. Some things before we get to our final solution, our thing we want everyone to take away is, one, something I've practiced before in different friend groups I've been in at New Year's. One of those things is a word of the year. So having a word or a theme, and if you've done this a few years, then you can say, hey, the theme of this year was growth or exploration or adventure or whatever that word is for you. We are definitely living adventurously here in Colorado since we've moved here. Between everything that's happened, that I don't want to take up 20-30 minutes right now, but I do have an episode where I go on my podcast where I go through like all the crazy stuff, and that didn't even include the fires. So that just added to it. We're not even through our first year, man. Anyway, I'm not going to do that. So that's one. A word of the day is a nice, fun one. And then Tim Ferriss, for anyone who follows him, I'm going to share with you guys here, is a reflection of the year, and you kind of do an audit.
No. We're not doing that. Tim Ferriss, I have a lot of respect for you, my friend. I'm not looking back at a pandemic year. We are trying to start something new. We are trying to be positive, and we are trying to set people off on the right course. Tim Ferriss is a very intelligent man, and I agree with some of the things he says, but I'm not going to do a reflection on last year, but you can explain the rest of Tim Ferriss, but I'm not a big fan right now.
That's all right, and I totally get where you're coming from. And yeah, again, the idea is, just if you're gonna reflect and be able to learn and grow from the things you did. Same thing in your fitness journey. If you've been with previous personal trainers, and say, hey, like I was with this guy for a year, and like I didn't really I didn't get the results I wanted. Why was that? Well, we did a lot of low intensity, or we did 3-pound dumbbells, and maybe this is the time that I'm going to listen to Dr. Bo, and I'm going to lift some heavy shit in my life. Maybe they're finally open to that. So anyway, without going too far down the audit of previous years and things like that, let's get to our big thing, our big solution that we want to get to people. So again, let's go with that most common goal of wanting to lose weight.
Well, we're going to stay there. Let's just deal with this, right? First of all, the number that most people pick, as you well know, it's ambiguous. It's ambiguous because if you put on muscle, your body's going to look differently. There's those women who are going to tell you, if I don't want to look like a CrossFit girl, that girl works out 6 hours a week, 6 hours a day. What are you talking about? Yeah, what are you talking about?
She eats 3,000 calories of very dialed in nutrition.
Yeah,
you're not going to do that.
No, and you and I've talked about this at this time of the year. We're getting slammed from all directions with all diet products, all pills, all this other stuff. Mark Nutting, who's a friend of mine, wrote that article in terms of what did he call it? He called it charlatans. He calls it the charlatans are out there, and they're in full force at this time of the year. We have to focus on when you come up with 20 pounds, what does that number mean? And why isn't it 10? And
or
why
19
isn't it
or 21?
We won't know till you start changing your body. And if you have the right person there, they might say, yeah, 20, but they should follow that up with, yeah, but you might be 8. It might be 12. It might be 13. You've gone through this, Bo. Why don't you give them a little bit about your journey?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. My journey wasn't exactly like that, but again, being in the CrossFit space, one of the things that attracted me to CrossFit, and I know we still owe everybody a CrossFit episode, demanding better from CrossFit, and there's a lot of changes happening that might not be for the best. We'll see how that all plays out. They just fired one of the main guys, Dave Castro, in the organization, so that's definitely creating some ripples. But yes, if anyone's followed along previously, Corona is not the biggest fan of the concept of CrossFit or the organization or the way it's implemented. But relating it back to where we are today, one of the things I love about it and that really attracted me to it in the beginning was it has a very scientific way to look at it outside of, again, what you see maybe on Instagram. But the way the definition is, the way that the founder, Greg Glassman, actually talked about it, he comes from an engineering background from his father and things like that. And he talked about this. I want this to be specific, repeatable, and measurable. So if we do the same tests and add these data points, the whole idea is we're redefining fitness. And again, that's where I really dove into that. And to, again, bring it all back to this is saying, what's realistic? If let's say, again, in CrossFit, we have rowing, we have running, we have lifting weights, Olympic weightlifting, gymnastics. How many pull-ups can I do? How many push-ups can I do? Squats. What's my 1 rep max? What's my 10 rep max? We can go down all these paths. And so it comes back to saying, cool, in the next 3 months, and again, this is something that I figured out as I was competing and really diving into this sport as an athlete myself and having different coaches. It's not about where you finish also in the open, which is a lot of people. I want to finish in the top 500 in the world or whatever, or in the top 5 in my gym, because you can't control what those people do. It's a nice goal to have, but you can't control that. So just like saying, if you're a football team, he's a Bills fan, I'm a Jets fan. Some people are having better years this year than others. We don't have to, we have the same amount of Super Bowl champion. No, we have one more championship than you, I believe, actually, in the grand scheme of things. Anyway, but
you weren't alive for that.
I was not alive for that. 1969, Joe Namath, guarantee, all that good stuff. Anyway, but and of course everyone knows, boy, I love losing Super Bowls. That's the Bills. So maybe you guys do make it to the Super Bowl this year. Anyway, Jets is just end the season, so it's a little worse. Just end the season. Sorry, we're going there, guys. So coming back to it, we're trying to keep this in a tight frame. So coming back to it is again, when we look at a sport, again, what can you control, right? So that's what it comes back to. And then are we looking at the right thing? So again, when we're talking about, I want to be victorious, I want to be the X amount ranked person in my class. If you're in school, I want to finish top of my class. They're all good goals to have. We're not saying you shouldn't aspire to that, but again, how you're going to more likely, especially when it comes to physical goals where you might not be the expert. We're trying to share with you that we see a lot of people fail because they're focusing on the wrong things. And now it comes down to the process. So for me with the athletics, it was, I'm going to show up. I'm going to do everything my coach says. I'm going to trust the process. And that might include being in the gym 5 days a week, doing my recovery, including my nutrition, my sleep, and focusing on all these different things.
No. Well, that's a great place to leave it. What process is there in 10 pounds? I want to lose 20 pounds. That's a goal. That's not a process. The process, for the reason people fail, it has to do with, forget about the process. You just want the end. It's like trying to make $1 million. So you'll do the get rich quick scheme, which is basically trying to lose 20 pounds in 4 weeks or something. You know what I mean? Something absurd. And what ends up happening, there's no process. There's no science-based stuff to it. There's nothing to it. It's just the end goal. And what you and I have always discussed about is really there's ups and there's downs in that journey to get to that place. And and I always say this to people, how much are you willing to sacrifice to get to where you got to go? Because if you're not willing to sacrifice anything, you're never going to get there. And if it's losing weight that you're resolutions, because I don't think anybody should have a resolution. I think you should have goals that you should attain, and then make a path to get there, make a process to get to that goal. Just a resolution. All right, I'm gonna lose 20 pounds in 4 weeks. If it doesn't happen, okay. That's why most people quit quit by February. And people want to. We're living in this world of just immediacy. Like, I want to lose this weight now, and we really got to get over that and get more into the process cycle of this whole thing. If you want to be successful, there's no CEO who said, I'm going to be CEO, and that's where you're going to start. It just doesn't happen that way. You go through the process of what you have to do. You get mentored. You do what you need to do, and you go take the steps of where you got to go. And the reality of it is, people just want the elevator to the top. That's it. And that's why people fail.
Fair enough. I'm not disagreeing with you by any means. And then the other thing that reminded me of is, again, what we're talking about here, folks, is the process we're focused on is building habits. And another resource I want to throw at you, and we're going to kind of sum it up as best I can here, is Atomic Habits by James Clear. So you can go check out his stuff and the book. And basically he called it Atomic Habits because atomic is what's the smallest changes we can make. Atomic is one of the smallest particles in physics. So that's where he broke it down as that. And it kind of works because it's also atomic. They become big habits. They can become an atomic bomb that changes your life in a good way. So has a huge ripple effect. So Atomic Habits is what we're talking about here. So again, when you're talking about wanting to lose 10 pounds, what are those habits that can be in place? I want to be in bed by a certain time. This is where it's the understanding of physiology. And maybe it is, I'm going to spend the next month researching what I need to do. So, that reminds me of one of my other favorite quotes of all time, a tribute to Abraham Lincoln. Not sure if that's who it is. If I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 7 sharpening the knife or axe. So that's the idea there. Maybe, if you're ready to make a change, maybe it's not just, I want to lose 10 pounds. Here, I'm going to do whatever I can, throw some spaghetti on the wall, see what sticks. It might be, I'm going to, again, talking about our episode 1, personal trainers. We said, try 5 different personal trainers. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's, I want to get out of knee pain. I've had knee pain for the last 2-3 years. It's been on and off. I've tried different things. Maybe it comes back to, again, I'm going to spend the time this next 2 weeks, 3 weeks to really research what is going to do that so that I can set up and make sure I'm driving in the right direction. So that's something. And again, if you need help from folks like us, we're here for you. Yeah, we're here for you to help you make sure you're going in the right direction.
Well, we also have to change. We have to change the way we talk about this. We have to switch the language of how this is being, how we focus it on us, because we've done this number to ourselves. And listen, I have done it to myself. I got to lose this amount of weight because I want to look a certain way. And what that registers for me in my mind is basically what I looked like when I was 21 and I was playing college lacrosse. You know what I mean? And I'm 53 now. That's not going to happen. But you have to have realistic goals. And you have to focus on the process, not the outcome. That's pretty much this whole thing. If you want to be successful, I'm not going to say resolution, but if you want to be successful in doing a goal, you got to set up a process. And not only you got to set up a process, you got to follow through with it. That's my thing. So as far as resolutions go for me, Bo, that's what you need to be successful.
Yeah. And I will share some of mine from kind of this year that I've been tinkering with on and off. And one of those, and I use the Whoop watch here as a bio tracker, and it has an app. And if you're not familiar, if you're interested in trying it out, comment or reach out to me. There's tons of ways to get a hold of us at this. If you guys are new to the internet, there's a lot of ways to do it. But in all seriousness, I'll send you a code that you can try out the Whoop, basically. So I'll have that referral code. But what I'm saying is, one, I don't have any caffeine after 2 p.m. because if I have caffeine after 2 p.m., I won't sleep as well. And I prioritize my sleep for my health. Again, one of my goals is to live to 120 with high quality of life, being able to run around, minimizing any surgical procedures I need over that time. So again, almost an ambiguous goal to some extent, but there's a lot of factors that go into that. Are my health markers good, my blood markers, things like that. But I do know that if I invest in my health right now, that's what I'm doing. So that's one habit. Another habit is being in bed by 10 p.m. And so again, I know that if I have caffeine too late, I'm not going to sleep as well. Things like that are just huge for me. I'm making sure I get certain amounts of activity. I'm not going to even share like 30 minutes here or this much or how much intensity. And again, the Whoop actually tracks a lot of those factors, but there's a lot of those conversations we can go to. One last, so I want to kind of tie this all back together, right? So we talk
Absolutely.
about folks starting with generic goals and focusing on the outcome first. And we're saying if you don't focus on the process, which is where we're going,
You're
then
going to fail.
you're most likely going to fail. From that generic goal, if you at least make it a SMART goal, again, specific, measurable, attainable, repeatable, time-based, that's great. Smarter goals, there are different ways to do that. But then again, we're coming back to if you focus on the process and the goal is I'm going to do 30 minutes of cardio every week or whatever's reasonable for you. And then it comes back to, is this the thing that's actually going to make me move and in the right direction? Are we even measuring the right things? And that's where, again, investing with somebody like us who, and we don't want to make this a sales pitch, but finding somebody who can help you make sure you're moving in the right direction. If you feel confident enough in saying, I want to look, feel, perform better. I want my blood markers to do this. Again, I think cholesterol and things like that are good numbers to have. I don't want to take anything away from our modern healthcare system, as many critiques as I have of it. It's still there to keep us alive. It's still there for many good reasons. However, when people only focus on that, or if the goal, one of those goals that I have with a lot of folks is get off of any medications, because medications have not just effects, but they have side effects, right? And so we want to avoid that. So wrapping that up, the process becomes the thing of, I want to make sure, we have 21 meals in a week. I want to make sure 18 of them adhere to these rules of no dairy. And then I allow myself 3 meals a week to whatever. And the more that works for you and you can keep experimenting with those things, that's what we're encouraging here. So diving into this is your body. We want you to demand better from your body, from your outcomes here. Mm-hmm.
Dr. Bo, just on that note real quick, because you do this way more than I do, but I just want to take 2 seconds on this. You never know what something does to your body unless you pull it out of your diet. Once you pull it out of your diet, you'll find out the effects of what it is to your body. And everybody is individual when it comes to this. Dr. Bo does this all the time. He's doing a challenge this month, which he can tell you about in a second. But you will never ever know what your body will respond to something unless it gets pulled out for a period of time and you bring it back in.
Yeah, and I want to add to that what a lot of folks think when they go to do allergy testing. The science just does not stand by what that tells us. So again, if you go and you do an allergy test, even through a reputable medical establishment, I don't think there's any real overlap or agreement on. And this is where similarly. People ask us about our dog. Our dog is a rescue. So they're like, oh, what breed is she? And we say, well, they told us she's a collie boxer. And we haven't done the genetic testing because we've heard if you go to 5 different genetic testing dog things, you're going to get 5 different results. Same thing with allergy testing. Again, they do this thing on your arm and they stab you, or, little micro abrasions. And then they'll tell you, oh, you're allergic to almonds and whatever. There is evolving science there. But at the end of the day, I think the best thing you can do is work with a coach. And this is what I do. This is why I keep introducing, reintroducing, eliminating, playing with that. And again, measuring and figuring out what it is that we want to look at and going through that process. It's tedious. And again, like you said, everyone wants that quick solution. Here, prick my finger. This the Theranos thing. We were talking about that, and those paying attention.
Don't go down that route. Don't go down that hole.
Well, the jury just convicted Elizabeth Holmes 4 out of 11 things. Anyway, there's some interesting podcasts there. Yes. But anyway, coming back to it, So I just wanted to say that about the allergy testing, and again, there's that simple solution versus the real U solution, the N equals 1. And you in the scientific literature, those not familiar, refers to how many people are in a study. So if you have a study of 1,000 participants, N equals 1,000. I'm saying N equals 1. You need to research on yourself, which is eliminate dairy for 30 days, reintroduce dairy. Your body's going to change, but you're going to feel different effects. It doesn't have to be 30 days. Maybe it's 2 weeks. Maybe, there's all these different science and concepts around all of that. And so that I also think our bodies change all the time. And that's not something I think. That is well established fact. So, but that at the end of the day, again, these are the powerful things we could be doing. And if we're moving in the right direction and building better habits, that to me is how we're going to connect to the outcomes that we really want.
100%. 100%. And I couldn't agree more.
And I want to give my bonus. That's right, bonus. Ha. No, nothing. Okay. My bonus to all this is, and we've seen this be successful, and I'll give Tim Ferriss, who we shout out earlier on this, a little bit of credit, is accountability. So if you're, again, going to, especially if you're relatively type A, if you're familiar with that concept, and you're goal oriented, you can make sure you choose a good goal or process or whatever it is, but then something that's going to help you. This is my bonus to this. It's kind of separate from everything we're talking about, but have accountability. So either say, hey, Corona and I are good buddies. So I'm going to say, Corona, if I don't check in with you 3 times a week to report that I did, my hour of cardio, then if I miss more than 2 sessions over the next month, I have to donate $100 to the Ku Klux Klan or whatever, some charity that I don't want to donate to.
That's not a charity.
Whatever it is,
you can
whatever organization that we don't believe in or agree with. No, I'm saying no, but it has to be something you don't want to donate to.
Oh, no. You want to
you're
donate
missing
that
my
to
point,
Plus.
my friend. Yeah, you're missing my point. It has to be a check. So if you're a Democrat,
I totally get you.
If you're a diehard Democrat, you have to donate to the Republicans, or vice versa. So that's where we're coming. But accountability, do it on Facebook, do it with your family. But have somebody hold you accountable, somebody you trust. That's why people hire personal trainers, but at the same time, again, go back to episode 1 where we kind of go through some of the faults in the stars, as it were.
Yeah, listen, to kind of tie this all up, I think we've given great advice. I think you gave an extra bonus, which I thought was done very, very well. But I will say this too. We want you to be successful. And since that's our goal, you have to set yourself up with a plan for success, not something, that some widget or something that, that's not even meaning anything. Find something, find what makes you tick, get a process, or find somebody that can help you with creating a process, and then execute your plan every day to the best of your ability, and you will be successful. But if you just say you're going to try to lose 20 pounds by X day, if there's no process, you're going to fail. And I don't mean to say that in a negative fashion, but that is just my experience of being in the industry for a long time. Those who do not have a focus, because listen, motivation fails, people. Motivation fails.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's just showing up every single day if you want to be there or not.
Those who fail to plan to
yes.
fail.
Well done, Dr. Bo. Well, we're gonna do with that on that note, because that is a high note. What we're gonna do is we're gonna say goodbye, because this is for you guys to be successful. We love you. Come back.
We need a resolution.
Hey, do me a favor. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, and to share. Listen, demand better for yourself and from your friends and from your family.
Love you guys. Stay safe.